I live my life a quarter mile at a time. I live my life a quarter mile at a time. I live my life a quarter mile at a time. I live my life a quarter mile at a time. I live my life a quarter mile at a time. I live my life a quarter mile at a time. I live my life a quarter mile at a time. I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Welcome back to the Big Movie Boys podcast, the only podcast that doesn't have friends, it's got family. I'm your host, Jeremy Ballman, and with me as always is Bob Liebel.
What's up, everybody?
And Ben Stitch.
What's going on, my brothers and sisters out there? How we feeling?
Feeling good, feeling like the family is back together yet again.
Yeah, I'm pretty amped for this week's episode. It's going to just be all Fast 9. Jeremy has successfully gotten me and Bob extremely riled up for this, and
I never thought it would happen.
A real credit to Jeremy.
Yeah.
9 weeks ago, we were not interested in this
He
at
just
all.
shoved it down our throat. It's so hard, and now we just accepted it.
Let's throw this out there. Have I ever recommended anything to either of you that you guys haven't liked? Because, at least from my perspective, my POV,
until you somehow start liking it.
I recommend something to you guys for weeks or months or years, and you guys say, that sounds like it sucks, and then you watch it and you go, this is the greatest thing I've ever
I guess
seen.
the last 3 things Jeremy has recommended to me were this, Bo Burnham special, which I really liked, and
The Boys.
The Boys, thank you. Yeah, and
A recent one.
There's been times where Jeremy has been recommending something to me for so long that I forgot, and then I did watch it, and then I recommended it to him. I was like, hey man, you should check out this. He's like, I told you to watch that.
Yeah, so if I tell you to watch The Fast and the Furious because they're the greatest movies ever made, you should do it. As proven yet again, for the 9th time in this series, the 10th time overall, with F9. Now known as F9 The Fast Saga.
is that what it's actually called?
That is now the official title of the movie. I
thought
don't
it was
know.
just F9.
It was for the longest time, and now it's F9 The Fast Saga. So, not sure why they went with the name change there, but we'll take it either way. And yeah, that's all we're talking about today. F9 The Fast Saga, released June 25th of 2021, directed by Justin Lin yet again. He directed Tokyo Drift 4, 5, and 6. Written by Daniel Casey, Justin Lin, and Alfredo Botello. This movie stars Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Ludacris, Tyrese Gibson, Sung Kang, Natalie Emmanuel, Jordana Brewster, Charlize Theron, Kurt Russell, John Cena, and even more people. And we're going to get to all those people as we go. We're going to keep it spoiler-free to start. Although, if you've seen any trailers,
You've seen the movie.
you know exactly what happens in this movie, save for a handful of scenes. But my first biggest criticism of the movie is that 90% of it is in the trailers. And I feel like historically with Fast and Furious trailers, again, this is the first one I'm seeing in theaters for the first time. But I've always heard that like they show you a lot in the trailer, but then they always amp it up a little bit in the real movie. They always either misdirect you, or there's just like another level they add to it.
They didn't do that.
Most of what's not in the trailer is just like plot points and backstory and flashback scenes. As far as the action goes, the order is a little bit different. You don't know exactly how everything's going to line up, but a lot of it is in the trailer.
I think maybe the flashback scenes, which make up maybe a total runtime, or like 10 minutes of the movie, the flashback
It's
scenes.
longer than that.
You mean 35
Yeah.
minutes?
It wasn't that long, was
The
it?
first scene was 10 minutes.
There's like 3 or 4 10-minute almost flashback
I'd
scenes.
say other than that, though, and then the small parts where, spoiler alert, they go to space, but you saw that in the trailer. There was a few scenes when they were in space.
You don't really know
But
how
other
they
than
get to
that,
space, but yeah.
everything was in the trailer. Truly every single scene. Like, there's times, I think I leaned to you in the movie. I was just like, oh, get ready for this. Because like I knew it was coming because I saw it in the trailer.
Yeah, that's the one criticism too, because everything about this movie is perfect besides that, because you know what's coming, basically. And I don't know why they feel the need to do that. People are coming to the theater no matter what to watch these movies. Don't give that much away, just because then it's even more exciting when something crazy fucking happens in the movie. I knew when to go to the bathroom because I'm like, okay, nothing's coming up here. Go. And then you just come right back, and then you're back in the action.
Yeah, and then my last spoiler-free criticism is that the plot in this movie, even for a
Don't
Fast
even
and
worry
Furious
about
movie,
it.
Did not know what they were doing.
I could not tell you what happens in this movie. outside of what I remember from the trailers because nothing makes any goddamn sense. However, Fast and Furious is just a cheat code because you know exactly what you're getting into. And even when shit makes no goddamn sense, it does not matter.
They don't
can
let you
literally do anything in these movies, and it doesn't matter. And I don't know how that's possible.
All I know is they were trying to get this other piece of a thing that then at that point, once they got it, no idea what they were going to do with it. It could have blown up the universe. It could have like shut down electricity in a city. I don't know what it
did.
Did
they
do.
even explain what the object they were hunting, what it does?
I think this is when you went to the bathroom, Ben.
Oh, perfect.
And this might blow your mind. Ready for this? So there's the MacGuffin, and it's broken into two pieces.
I didn't know what it was called. I knew it was in two pieces. It basically
MacGuffin
looks
is just
like
a generic term. It's called Ares,
Okay.
named after
The God of War.
the god of war. What does Ares do? It can hack anything on the planet that has ones and zeros.
Oh my god. That's how they describe it? Okay.
Yeah. If it runs on ones and zeros, it can be hacked by Ares.
But did they say what they want to do with it?
No.
Because last time I know it was just Charlize Theron saying she
Hack
wants
the
to
world.
hold the world accountable.
Right. I don't know.
Is it this
I
just
would
this
say
brat
it's-
kid wants to like show up his dad? I really like the French guy. Is he French? I don't even know. God,
Yeah.
I think
don't
it's just
know.
more of that though, because he's working for Charlize Theron at the end. Like they
At the
they
end,
pull the
yeah,
old
Charlize
switcheroo.
Theron's back in charge, but
Yeah,
spoiler.
I think. Are we in spoiler territory now?
I mean, there's not a whole lot to spoil because, again, we could tell you anything and you could watch the movie. You're like, how is that going to happen? How are they going to get from this scene to that scene? We don't know.
They just do
We
it.
still don't know. But yeah, so the Ares is broken into two halves,
For whatever reason.
and Kurt Russell had the one half that they get right away, and then the other half is in like a bank or something that they just get pretty easily.
But then you also need another human being that somehow activates this.
They need the key,
Which Han brought right to
which is that girl.
They
We're
do
getting
also-
into spoilers.
Yeah,
people.
okay.
We're just gonna go
Yeah,
from
okay.
beginning to end because
Yeah, pause it, go watch this movie because
Yeah.
you're doing
Yeah.
yourself a disservice by not
if you're
seeing
waiting
it.
for us to tell you whether or not to watch this movie, we've spent the last 9 weeks telling you to watch all of these movies. So clearly our opinion has not changed on that. But yeah, going from the beginning, let's just talk surface level. What did we think about John Cena and the flashbacks and his introduction? Anything about John
The
Cena?
thing that I mean, I like John Cena. I think he's made for a role like this, just shitty generic action movie. He'll probably be doing stuff like that for the rest of his life. But I don't know. It just sells itself. It's a new Fast and Furious movie. John Cena is Vin Diesel's brother, and he's the bad guy. Like, I literally bought my ticket right away. But the thing that I think is the most funny, because it's very clearly they don't look anything alike. That's the biggest thing. Why the fuck are these guys brothers? They look nothing alike. And then I forgot what character it was. They explain it away
It
by
was
saying,
Charlize Theron.
yeah, she's like, do I detect a little bit of what thing?
Norwegian?
Yeah,
And
yeah, look at your
he's like,
jawline.
I knew the Torettos had a diverse bloodline, but how do you and Dom look nothing alike is essentially the
They try to
line.
explain it. Yeah, that
They,
was the
they
funniest part.
explain everything away. If you had a question, like this movie has callbacks to, I think, every single other movie in this franchise. If you had a lingering question about anything after the first 8 movies, it is answered in this movie, whether you want it to be or not. And that's awesome.
But John Cena, though, back to him, I feel he actually doesn't talk that much in the movie. He doesn't have many lines.
He's in it for like 15 minutes, I feel like.
I
He's in
think
it
they
way
try
less
to
than...
hide his. I mean, I assume he's not the greatest actor. I don't know if they're trying to like hide his horrible acting or whatever, because he has just like all basic, simple lines. Like that other guy that has like the evil dad or whatever the fuck. He does more of like the when he explains what
bad guy
they're
work.
doing.
Yeah.
But no, he was good. I liked him.
John Cena was alright. I missed The Rock big time in this movie. I
Yeah.
needed Hobbs in this. I don't know how was he just not available for 2 months of shooting or 1 week? Like, let's get The Rock in this. But besides the not looking like, the flashback scenes were good enough for me that they made me laugh because then they had some payoff on like how it comes back together. Where like at the beginning you're just like, oh, they lost their dad. It's so sad. Then you're like, no, actually, John Cena killed the dad.
Yeah.
And then later on, no, actually, the dad asked John Cena basically to murder him.
That made no fucking
It
sense.
made no sense, but I love how that one scene just took so long to explain.
I think the idea is that their dad wanted to
Throw the race.
throw the
'Cause he was
race,
poor, he needed the money.
but then whatever he did to throw the race made him more vulnerable to instantaneously exploding if another car got within 2 feet of him. And that's
I
exactly
don't know why
what
he
happened.
couldn't just like let his foot off the gas pedal. He needed like the air and some valve to be loosened up.
But the great callbacks to the very first The Fast and the Furious movie. You learn about, Dom talks about how his dad died in a crash. And he's like, I could hear him screaming and I tried running after him. But later they told me he died instantly. And the person I heard screaming was me. And we saw it happen.
Yeah.
We saw Dom screaming. And then he also talks about beating the shit out of some dude with a wrench and almost killing him and getting sent to jail. We see it happen. For a second, young John Cena almost beats the guy up. I'm like, that's not what happened. I remember this story. And then young Vin Diesel does it anyway. My favorite part about the flashbacks is the fact that young John Cena is about 6 inches shorter than young Vin Diesel. And then when you cut to present day, John Cena is a good 4 inches
even
taller.
though they're
than Vin
like
Diesel.
24 and like 19, so they're
Even
pretty
though
much
they're
done growing.
Fully grown adults at some point in the last couple decades.
Vin Diesel's younger self is 8 inches taller than Vin Diesel.
I thought their faces looked okay though.
Yeah, they actually did a good job of morphing
I
them.
thought the casting was pretty good. And I haven't researched it at all, but I still suspect that young Vin Diesel was voiced by Vin Diesel.
I think you might be
with
right.
some sort
Yeah.
of, audio effects thrown on top of it. But we also see young Mia, young Letty, young Vince, the whole crew's there.
Up on that when I saw
You
it.
got
I
the
was like,
young Dominican Republic guys that he meets in prison,
prison,
apparently.
yeah.
So it makes sense when they just show up out of nowhere in 4. It's like, oh, they met in prison. That's why.
Do you really answer a lot of questions?
Everything is answered.
I wish they would have just used Vin Diesel as his younger self, and then just thrown like a little bit of hair on him, and just acted like that was
I
him.
truly like when I saw the like racetrack when the movie started. Because I know Jeremy had mentioned the story, so I knew what we were about to see, and it was clearly a flashback. And I was like, "Oh my fucking god,
This is
please be Vin Diesel in a wig!" Like, how funny! We wouldn't have been able to finish the movie
if that's the first scene.
we would have had to leave.
Vin Diesel with just like a mullet.
But then John Cena also like I give like a mustache or something. I don't know. Like,
Oh my god. I was, however, a little disappointed that their dad was just some dude.
Yeah, I needed that to be a
cast
who
somebody
may
better.
have been younger than the Vin Diesel
He could
younger
have
guy.
been their brother. Apparently, he knocked someone up at the age of 7 because there is not more than a 10-year age difference between those actors.
Yeah, I was bummed because we did theorize who was going to be their father, and nobody was close. Does anybody even know that guy's name?
Oh,
No, and I never will.
Probably not. Like
I
they,
really thought Danny Trejo was going to be their dad.
Dude, that would have that would have been amazing.
they had Michael Rooker could have been their dad. He
Yeah.
looked
Yeah.
older than them. He didn't look the same age as them.
Would you rather be him in this movie where you get like one more scene, or would you rather be like Vin Diesel's dad and you're just in
Yeah.
it for like a half second?
I don't know.
I think
I
I'd
mean-
rather be Vin Diesel's dad.
Yeah.
They
Going
It's something
forward.
you can put on your resume for a long time.
They can bring Michael Rooker back. He's still cooking.
Yeah.
He's still drinking Coronas in that garage as we
Dude.
speak.
Should we go back a little bit and talk about our day leading up to this movie?
I'm ready for it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
We had a 7 o'clock show. Get home from work at about 5:20. Bob's already parked in front of my house. I go around the block. That way I can pull up side by side next to Bob. I roll my window down. I rev my engine. Pull into the driveway. We had just some good old Coronas, a little barbecue in the form of hot dogs.
That was the best Corona I've ever had in my life.
I hate Corona.
Honestly, great Coronas. And
and
then
it tasted delicious.
when little Brian said grace too, it just really got me excited
Yeah.
for this movie.
We watched all the trailers, like for every Fast and Furious movie leading up to it. We were listening to all the soundtracks. We were in the perfect
Yeah.
state of mind to watch this movie, I think. But now we've talked about the movie a little bit. We got plenty more about the movie to talk about. Should we have a brief intermission, talk about our theatrical experience? Because Bob and I went and saw Fast and Furious 6 a couple weeks ago in theaters. Theater full of 10 people and one asshole who refused to move to let us into our row. I was expecting like a sold out theater, or as close to sold out as you can get with COVID space seating. But the parking lot was pretty empty, and our theater was like, what, half full?
Yeah, I don't know what the restrictions were for this, but
Most of the people
most of the people
there-
were by us. There was not many
Yeah.
people in front of us.
No,
we were like
yeah.
halfway up.
And
Perfect
then,
seats right in the middle.
oh yeah, I mean, that's all I do, right?
Good seats to watch a good movie that you've been super excited for, right?
Then the worst thing that's ever happened, ever.
Yeah.
We're sitting, so center, not too far from the back, pretty dead center of the theater.
Great seats.
Movie's
Real excited.
Movie's about to start. Trailers are ending. It's already dark, and basically the entire row behind us shows up. And I remember just taking a quick look back, and I'm like, "Is that person holding a baby?" No, it's dark out. That's clearly a bag of popcorn. Then this baby cries for 80% of the fucking
Dude,
movie.
this baby would not fucking stop crying, and I feel so bad for the baby. Why not bring the baby headphones? This is the loudest thing I've ever heard, this movie.
I could start crying. It's so loud.
Dude, it's so fucking loud, and a baby obviously can't go through this. I don't know how dumb you have to be to bring a baby to Fast 9. And if you're going
To a movie theater.
to a movie at all, like a kid's movie, whatever. If the baby starts crying, it's just proper etiquette to leave the theater, calm the baby down, leave and go home, because don't bring a fucking baby to this movie at all.
and never come back
it
and
truly-
reevaluate all of your life decisions.
Truly unbelievable. Like I can imagine packing up, going to the movie theaters. Like I got my keys, got my wallet. Let me grab the fucking baby. That's something people bring to these things. Like what? Why would you do that? Seriously, why would you do that? Like I get it. Like maybe you couldn't get a sitter for whatever reason. Guess what? You're not going to the movies tonight, then, buddy.
No.
You gotta watch your fucking baby.
You're definitely not going to F9,
No, that's the other
the
thing.
loudest fucking movie ever.
That's just the most asinine decision.
2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
You think a baby's not gonna fucking make a sound for 2.5 hours at 9 p.m.? What time
Yeah.
do babies go to bed?
That's the other thing.
Like
It was
Gotta be earlier than that.
It was late. Like that movie ended. It was damn near 10 o'clock. Like, why the fuck?
Those people did nothing. And I fucking hate that baby. And if I ever see that son of a bitch again,
And they like Bob told them twice to leave the theater. Other people were
'Cause
looking at them constantly.
And we were like almost 2 hours into the movie at that point. And this baby wouldn't shut the fuck up. And Bob literally twice said, "I think it's time to leave."
Yeah.
And everyone else in there was on the same page.
Yeah. The first thing I did.
I tried to alpha them.
The
So
big hand.
I turned around and
Yeah,
looked right at them.
you
No eye
you
contact
Hawkeyed them.
with all of them when their baby started crying. And then I just said a few things under my breath kind of loudly. And then I was over with. And it was a pretty quiet scene. All you could hear was the baby fucking crying. And then when there was one moment, I'm like, this would be a good time to leave the theater.
And you would think a crying baby, you're like, okay, the parent's gonna hold the baby, try to console it, make it feel better. No. Their way of trying to make this baby stop was to put it back in the car seat, put it on the ground in the dark and scary and cold movie theater ground, and just rock it with their foot. That did not fucking work.
That's what it was like.
They did that piss poor effort to calm it down, but I just think they didn't care. That's the most ignorant shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
The whole drive home, we try to come up with something more ignorant, and so far we have not come up with anything.
Like I said, like maybe you couldn't consider and you're just real jazzed to see the movie. But
Walk out if the baby's crying.
Yeah.
obviously this is their first baby because they don't know baby etiquette. If you're dumber than shit enough to bring a baby to a movie theater, you fucking leave when it starts. Inevitably, 100% it is going to cry, so you know when it cries, I have to leave the theater. And they refused.
The biggest sin on top of all of this, and again, top 2 ignorant things you could possibly do is bring a baby to a movie theater. I would bet my entire fucking life savings and everything I make moving forward that this baby was not older than the first F9 trailer.
Yeah.
No, I agree. It looked very fresh.
That baby was young as hell. The F9 trailer is, oh yeah, this baby is not older
Yeah.
than that trailer.
That
now.
9 trailer came out in like what, 2019?
January 2020,
Yeah, so that baby was
18
not,
months ago.
That baby was not.
that's a pandemic baby.
Yeah. That baby was not. Oh, yeah. That's even more fucked up.
If you're considering taking your child to see F9 and they are not older than the F9 trailer, I've got nothing to say that I want recorded and saved via audio for the rest of my
I truly
life.
don't know, and I really like wish that like when it was over, I was like pissed off, and like they had left the theater basically right away.
Yeah, me and Jeremy had to
That
hold
was-
you back. I remember that part.
Yeah, I really
That's
wanted to
how
say something
that's
to
how
them.
you know that they knew that they were being
but
assholes,
they didn't care.
because they ran out of the theater right before the credits
Yeah.
rolled. so that they wouldn't get berated by people like us.
I truly really want this. Like, if I see them, I wish I knew those people's faces. I would actually beat the shit out of that
Let's
guy.
go back to the theater and get the footage.
I would beat the shit out of that baby's father, and I'm not even. No, I'm like, seriously not even joking. If I'm even talking to a random guy and like we talk about F9, he's like, yeah, I went and saw F9 opening night actually, AMC 7:00. Did you bring a baby with you? Yeah. Fucking literally, I would beat a man within an inch of his life
With a wrench.
Yeah.
Pull a Dom Toretto, beat him with a freaking wrench, dude. Yeah, you would be justified too. Like, I think any jury of your peers would be like, yeah, they were.
You just have to get one person who has seen F9.
Yeah.
Yes, which they will have seen it. I hope that baby didn't count towards your rankings, Jer, of the movie draft. Hope they didn't have to purchase a ticket for it.
Did it ruin the movie for you guys? The baby?
No, but
it ruined the experience.
Yes,
like,
but not the movie. And this movie is so fucking loud for most of it. It really only ruins like a couple of lines.
Scenes where they're not shooting explosions every fucking.
Yeah, that's the only time it really bothered me. Other than that baby was crying at its full volume, and I couldn't really hear it.
Yeah, it was only noticeable during the talking parts, but yeah. So anyway, that's our rant about the baby. If you bring a baby to a theater, don't.
Yeah.
Literally reevaluate everything in your life. Anyway, what are your favorite scenes from this movie?
My favorite scene is when they determine that Han is still alive because they see a Mexican flag in one window of one of the largest cities in the world of Tokyo.
You nailed it entirely. That is the best scene because it's literally Mia and Letty eating. They just stop at some corner market in Tokyo.
There's probably 1,000 of those identical markets like that all over this entire city.
They're just sitting outside, and then was it Letty who said Han always called Tokyo
the Mexico
his Mexico or something that made absolutely no goddamn sense. And then I think Mia is
too.
Oh yeah, there's the postcard with a cross on it. That's the same cross that both Dom and John Cena wear on their necklace or whatever. There's something weird going on with that cross. But anyway, they look up literally to the building next to them, see a Mexican flag hanging in the window, and they're like, that's where Han is.
Even though in their heads, they know it to be true that Han is dead. So they aren't like, oh my God, Han would have had that same thing. Oh, I miss Han. They're like, Han's alive and he's living right there in that studio apartment.
But here's the thing that makes literally so Han calls it his Mexico. Why would you then hang the Mexican flag?
Why wouldn't he have a Tokyo flag or like a Japan flag?
I don't know. One, that whole saying it's his Mexico makes no sense. But is he that passionate about it that he's just like, I'll just hang the Mexican
That's
flag
his curtain
in my window? What? Do you hang flags in your window? I've never even seen that before.
No.
It doesn't look like it.
Apparently no flags in my window, but I've never called this house my Mexico. So
it's only Han with the Mexican flag and Southerners holding the Confederate flag as their curtains. That's the only people who do that.
Yeah, that's a great one. Great choice. I think my favorite is how they try to convince you that Han didn't die in the 3 other times we've seen him die. This is now the 4th movie where we watch him die, but it turns out that Kurt Russell had made contact with him because Kurt Russell at one point worked with Gal Gadot, and now he knows he can trust Han because
Gal trusted Han,
and somehow they knew Jason Statham was going to try to kill Han, so when he was in the car, he wasn't in the car. Is that it? Is that how he like didn't
gets
explode?
out of the car right before, and then Jeremy, they go on to explain that he was going to like help rob this family basically to take one of the 2 pieces that they need in this movie.
Yeah,
and like he ends up having to save Elle, I think is her name, the 11-year-old girl who a week later is now 19 or 20 years old, and they show Han getting shot 4 times in the chest.
Point blank range, right in the chest.
and like bleeding out.
Yeah.
I literally leaned over to Ben. I'm like, did they just explain Han not dying by showing him die a different way?
It makes no fucking sense.
Dude, for real, I need another scene showing how he got out of that one alive.
Here's the thing.
I think they might come back to it, honestly.
They might have to. It's got to be the biggest thing people talk about. What do you mean Han's alive? There's the biggest problem is, one, they don't even try to explain how it was possible. They literally show Han in the car, and then they like the camera flashes and he's not in the car anymore. They're like, yeah, we wasn't there, we faked it. Like, and then Jeremy, by explaining the way he died by showing him die another way, and they don't even mention that. They just show his body just getting unloaded in the fucking chest. And then that mixed with the fucking girl that says I'm an 11-year-old girl. And then now we see her and she's in her mid-20s. What is the timeline of this?
I will explain it to you, Bob.
Because it had to have happened 10 years ago. But I think this takes place over like a year. Every Fast and Furious movie.
This is a little later because little Brian has aged like 3 years. Elle has aged 11 years. Han has aged 14 years. And Vin Diesel's younger. So
and Lucas Black doesn't look a day older.
Lucas Black looks like he's the same age as Tokyo Drift. They filmed his scenes back when they filmed Tokyo Drift.
When I saw Bow Wow on the screen, I was concerned. He looks
Bow Wow's a little chubby.
Like shit.
Bow Wow's been drinking Coronas in Tokyo for a while.
I did so much research on Bow Wow after that. I was like, what is his net worth? Like, has he been in rehab? Like, what the fuck is Bow Wow's problem? Life hit that guy like a Mack truck. Once he got over the age of 18,
once he took Lil away.
Yeah, once he was Bow Wow. Yeah, that was really, he's probably sitting around, God damn it, I can't be Lil Bow Wow anymore. I'm Giant Bow Wow now. But like, he probably thinks about that. He's like, my life changed. I took the Lil away.
Honestly.
He looks so bad. And then that other guy who also, if you follow the timelines of the movie, I mean, whatever. He was 35 years old in high school. Fine, whatever. We've talked about that on the podcast before. But why in the fuck does he look even older now? Like, if anything, he's like maybe 21, 22.
He's 22 in this movie.
In the timeline of the movie, he maybe is like in his last year of college.
Yes.
Like, if you're being generous with it. But he looks like a 55-year-old man.
Because he is a 55-year-old man.
He's so old.
Oh my god, those are some great scenes.
My favorite was Bow Wow. When I first saw him on the screen.
With the rocket ship, with them trying to put that car. I don't even know what they're attempting.
They're just, Dom's like, I know people in Germany who can get you a fast car, and then it cuts to the guys from Tokyo Drift, and they're all just rocket scientists now.
Yeah.
Like,
but then they also say, yeah, Dom Toretto sent us. Dom had just said that he knows these people, and they go, who?
just the one guy says.
Yeah.
Bow Wow and Lucas Black are like, oh shit, Dom Toretto. That was pretty funny though, because in all the movies, everyone on the planet knows who Dom Toretto is. So this is the first time someone's like, who's Dom Toretto? Which was pretty funny. I think my favorite action scene is when they're driving that long tank thing. I don't even know what you'd call it, like the
thing that ends up flipping.
Yeah.
You saw it in the trailer.
Yeah, the thing that flips up on its face in the trailer. That ends up like sliding down a mountain. Dom's inside of it, running around, trying to, keep his head
it's
up.
rolling over, and Dom is just like running. It's like the scene from Inception.
And then at some point, he gets into the driver's seat. I'm like, what the hell is he going to do in the driver's seat? He then gets a grenade from somewhere, throws it so perfectly at the front corner of this giant fucking tank thing that it blows it up upright onto the road, and he drives it away. It is probably the most absurd, like, single individual event that happens in this movie.
No, Jeremy, you're dead wrong on this one. This is also in the trailer. When Letty goes, Dom, there's not a bridge, and he just fucking hits the thing, knowing that this wire or cable is gonna latch onto his car, and just launches. Real. And then they're so calm in that car as they're free falling to their deaths that it's. I lose my mind at laughing when they land that, and Letty's like, that was new.
You wonder how they're gonna land it. They're just gonna crash into the side of the mountain, roll up a bunch of times, and then
land upright.
Yeah.
My other probably favorite scene is when Vin Diesel's taking on 150 men with his bare hands, and at one point pulls a building down.
He literally pulls the chains that are hanging from the ceiling and just pulls out these concrete
Everyone
pillars.
dies besides him.
Collapses a building. Yeah, and then falls 100 feet into a pool of just debris everywhere.
Yeah.
There's giant pieces of concrete and metal
But
falling all
he
over
uses
the place.
that time to remind himself that his brother actually didn't kill his dad. He notices a glance that they shared, and he's like, oh shit, he didn't kill dad. While he's drowning.
Yeah. And they don't even explain it away. They're just like, "Nah, he's good." I don't think I don't even think they try to hide. Like, obviously, like there was a little joke in the movie where, what's his fucking name?
Tyrese.
Yeah, he's like, "Isn't it like funny all the crazy shit we've been through? Like maybe we're invincible. Maybe we're superheroes." Like basically like
Acknowledging.
breaking the fourth wall. Like, yeah, we do ridiculous shit in here, but nothing like that ever applies to Dom. Like nobody. Like, yeah, they do some crazy shit, but Dom has literally done the impossible routinely in this movie.
How would you not follow him to the edge of the earth? He's a cult leader. I would follow him anywhere. This is why FBI agents routinely
down a fucking building with his bare hands. I'd probably listen to what he had to say
and then walk out.
Yeah, if I saw a guy walk out of 50 burning car crashes, it literally happens to him once a week.
Nuclear bomb.
Yeah, Dom Toretto has taken the full force of a nuclear bomb from 5 feet of distance.
I think this movie, if you combine the other 8 movies in total, has more people jumping out of cars and jumping onto cars than all the other movies combined. They hammer that home. If you land on a car, you're safe. We've established that. But they do it so many times. There's a point where Dom crashes into a car to shoot it forward down the road so that John Cena can fall onto that crashed car to then run on top of another car. Like there's a lot of car driving with no one sitting in the driver's seat for a long time.
Never understood that. Do they just put it on cruise control? Like, I'm very confused whenever they do that.
Maybe the magnets were driving
Who
at
in
this
God's fucking name is steering the car?
point.
The street always wins,
Maybe
Bob.
Ludacris from
That's why
like
it
a
doesn't make
different
sense.
location.
Like, I imagine when they're like, yeah, we're gonna have Dom, collapse a parking garage by stomping on it. They're like, okay, like, yeah, he's fucking Dom Toretto. But like, obviously that's unbelievable. But like, what do they say? What is the director saying? He's like, yeah, just get out of your car and you're gonna be on top fighting with this person. Doesn't the actor like, what do you mean get out of my car? Who's gonna be driving it? And that doesn't make any sense, Mr. Director.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Get out of the car and the car's just driving itself. What do you mean? Like,
I'm sorry, are you paid to act or are you paid to ask questions?
Shut the fuck up. Get on top of the car.
Like I said, we talked about it. Like some of the lines Dom Toretto says, some of the things he does, and like, how did this get greenlit? How did somebody put pen to paper and say, we're gonna put this in a movie? And nobody was like, oh, I don't know, man. That doesn't really sound like a good idea.
I wonder what gets like turned down. Like, no, that's too far fetched.
I would assume nothing,
right? Because they had to be like, what if we like send this car like to space with Ludacris and Tyrese? Like, and someone, I'm sure some like intern was like, I don't know, that's kind of ridiculous, right? And they were like, get the fuck out of this room right now.
And then someone's like, but what if we give them Nas and they can use that in space?
And they're like, yeah, that makes sense.
What do you guys think of the magnets? Was another big thing that that was probably like the most creative action stuff, and it they introduce it pretty early. It comes back in a couple different ways.
My favorite part of the magnet use is how when Ramsey's driving that U-Haul truck, basically,
where she learned to drive.
Yeah, where she's just learning to drive, and she just turns the magnets on, and this can like make anything go to this truck. Like it's obviously a huge magnet. But like nobody's necklace tears off, nothing like that. It's just a car going through another building from like from another block, and
it looks awesome.
John Cena just crashes through a building into the truck.
There's no less than 1,000 other metal objects between the car and that.
But only the car. And then later on, when they're using the magnets work so that it actually attracts things a little behind them, so it doesn't crash into them.
Sometimes, if you think hard enough, it'll attract metal directly to the magnet. But if you want it to, it can just attract stuff right behind magnet so that it crashes into the cars that are chasing you.
This magnet should have killed no less than 300,000 people.
I love this scene where they show 3 people standing in like a phone shop or something, and the phone gets ripped out of the dude's hand. There's glass breaking, shit just flying all around them, and they all just stand there like they didn't get completely annihilated by 100 metal objects flying right by their face. Oh my god! The only thing so in the first scene when they've got like the moving van that's got the whole array of magnets, and Tej and Roman are fighting the guys in the back seat while Ramsey's driving. The only thing I wanted, because she kept like turning the magnets on and off, and that affected how they were all fighting in the back. I wanted one of the goons to finally get the gun in his hand, pull the trigger, then the magnet turns on, and the bullet gets sucked away right before shooting someone. I was waiting for that to happen so bad. I'm like, God damn it, I hope it happens, but it never did.
if they heard that, they would be like, "Fuck! Why didn't we think of that?"
I was waiting for just someone to pull a gun like 2 feet
right to
from
Ludacris,
right in front of Ludacris. Pull the trigger. You just see Ludacris like wince, and then the bullet just curve right.
or
in front
like
of him.
even back into the guy, like he's in front of the magnet.
Oh my god, that would have been even better. He gets the shot off, magnet turns on, bullet comes back through his own head. How did they not do that?
Oh man, that would have been amazing.
If I had not seen this movie and you explained that scene to me, I'd be like, yeah, definitely happened.
Oh my god. And then that whole scene ends with Dom somehow ends up back in their car. And Ramsey, who said she didn't know how to drive 5 minutes ago, is now driving perfectly.
A U-Haul. Mind you, have you guys ever tried to drive something like that? It's us, people that drive every single day. I mean, yeah, we're not Dom Toretto and fucking Ramsey, who
But if it
doesn't
was
have
your
a license.
first time driving and you're just in like this huge fucking truck in a city,
Yeah, you're not. But why did nobody just take over and let her drive? Or why didn't Dom just grab the wheel?
He's got
They're like, oh, this is your first day driving? You're not doing too bad of a job. You're just fucking...
Well, he says to her, "You're a natural." And she goes, "Of course I am." and the scene just lingers for so long, like she forgot the rest of her line. I'm like, and then it just cuts to some other scene. I'm like, what the hell was that? Why did it not cut earlier? Or why did they leave in the take where she forgot her line? It was so awkward. I don't think I've seen a more awkward exchange between characters.
It certainly does feel like, though, a lot of moments in this movie that they were cut for time. Like, you're in the middle of a scene, and, like, the scene either ends or, like, just doesn't seem pieced together the way it was probably meant to be. And I think I've noticed that in the other movies as much. I mean, it definitely probably happens, but this one I was just like, well, that didn't seem like that's the way they wanted that to go.
yeah, I was almost thinking they'd end up being in space a little longer, and I'm surprised Dom didn't end up in space somehow.
So we get introduced to the Tokyo Drift team, who now designs rockets.
Perfectly normal job.
Later in the movie, they're just on the back of that like space shuttle thing with a rocket car. Was there not a scene in between?
No.
Because just it really feels like just out of nowhere. It's like, okay, we're ready to go to space. We've got everything we need.
Yeah, they didn't explain anything.
And then they just go to space.
They
I'm
don't
like,
show the rocket leaving, right? They just show them leaving the one rocket with the rocket that's
when they're
attached
on
to
the
their
back
car.
of the ship already.
yeah, they detach from the plane, ignite the NOS rockets. That was so cool to watch that.
What
And
did
then
he say when they're like, they didn't know if they were going to crash into the space thing or whatever. And then what the fuck did he say, Jeremy? You definitely remember.
I don't even know what part you're talking about.
When they turned the NOS on, right before they turned the NOS on, he's just like, but I'm a driver.
Wait, oh yeah,
He's like, you're a thinker, but I'm a driver. And he's like,
yeah,
you're good with
math
numbers.
is your, oh yeah, numbers are your thing. My thing's driving, or
As he's
driving's my
flying
thing.
like a
yeah,
fake.
as you're clearly not
They're
driving.
literally hovering in zero gravity, trying to crash into a satellite. He literally just like ignites the NOS,
Dude,
takes the
it's
steering
so
wheel,
they can-
and drives through
Dude,
a
the
satellite.
steering wheel controls the wheels, and they're in zero gravity. The wheels are doing nothing, and he's still acting like the wheel does.
It's like a spaceship where there's like the little, I don't even know what it is, where it just like shoots like air out so you can make like micro adjustments. But I think they had it engineered so that when you turned the wheel of the car, it just like, it shot
That's
out
what
at
controlled
little air bursts wherever you needed to turn. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And then the scene at the end where they're like, I've been eating space food for the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, they've been in space for so long.
Yeah, I'm also confused why they're not dead. Their car exploded, the space shuttle exploded, they're in the middle of space, and
They happen. The space is so big, but they just happen to run into the International Space Station.
which, mind you, if people on the International Space Station were able to like pick them up, why didn't they just call them and tell them to destroy the space shuttle, or whatever thing they needed, the satellite? Why didn't they just do that? Hey, by the way, there's a guy trying to do some shit with Project Ares, whatever that is. Anyway, can you just like destroy that
I'm pretty
satellite?
sure they could have turned the magnet on, and it would have.
Somebody up there knows Dom Toretto, and then Dom needs that satellite destroyed. Somebody is on it right away.
for sure.
That's a good point. Yeah, I thought they put the Ares thing on the satellite, but then the thing was in that armored vehicle, and they're like, we got to uplink it to the satellite. I'm like,
I don't know.
I thought the purpose of this thing was you could hack anything. Why can't you just hack a satellite?
Here's the thing that also makes no sense. The reason the entire like Project Ares thing makes no sense. There's a scene where they literally like show them getting like the stuff, like the two pieces after they blew up the satellite. there's like not even sound. It's like a passing glance type of scene, like the way they filmed it. It was like, okay, like you just saved the day, and like that's not even the star of the show. That's not even what matters. The literal plot in this movie is not at all important. That they don't even show them solving the problem. They don't care. It doesn't fucking matter.
And then all of a sudden, John Cena's like good. Like I love the turn. Like he spends this whole movie trying to take down his brother, and then like the guy he's working with, for no reason at all, just crosses Jacob, and he's like, "I'm on Dom's team now."
Because Charlize Theron,
Who they had in a cage.
Yeah,
manipulated the
French. Yeah,
whatever we'll call him.
Did
French.
she?
Yeah,
she did, and it
remember?
like, didn't do it. But they
she
don't
called him Yoda.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There was a really long, really weird Star Wars
90
reference.
seconds of Star Wars references, which I didn't understand why they did that. But yeah, you're right, Jeremy. There was they had 2 scenes together, one of which where they spent 85% of talking about Star Wars, and yeah, now.
But I don't know why they couldn't all be working together. It's now, I'm working with her, so I can't be working with this really, really tough spy who actually would be a benefit for me.
So why can't they all be together? Why does him switching sides then cause Jacob to like be good? Everything I was doing was fucked up before because this guy doesn't want me to be like his partner anymore. I better go back to my brother.
It's so great too because Letty's like, Dom, I can't catch up to you. What does that even mean? You're in a car just like everyone else, and clearly we've proven that you can do anything in a car.
Yeah,
doesn't matter because Jacob's like, I can. And then just drifts Han's car back in there, and then they save the day.
Yeah.
He literally jumps out of his own car into Dom's car.
Yeah, that's right.
and then Dom gives him a car. He said, someone once gave me a 10-second car as a second chance. That was literally the first movie. Because everything matters in this franchise.
All the callbacks. Wow. 9 movies later.
There was callbacks to Too Fast, Too Furious. Obviously, Tokyo Drift. A lot of the people came back. They literally reference, I think, every single movie in one way or another.
Yeah.
And it's pretty awesome. They bring Meryl Streep back.
Yeah, Helen Mirren did a good job.
She was in one scene. I thought she was going to be in a little bit more, but
she just drives a car really fast after stealing something, and that's all we needed.
That scene, it's the one in the trailer where Dom and Jacob face off and do the lethal or
the
rush hour steal your gun, pull a gun on you thing, and it ends with Dom getting arrested by Interpol, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna have to break Dom out. This is gonna be a cool action scene. Just kidding, it was Cardi B the whole time.
Yeah, we guessed wrong on which musician was gonna be in it.
This scene, I thought the projector skipped or something. I had no idea where this came from.
There was that, like I mentioned earlier, scenes that made no sense and were clearly cut. I think 95% of that scene was cut, and what suffered was the explanation for why that scene was happening. Because why the fuck? Nothing makes sense. I didn't want to talk about it.
There's going to be a callback in the next movie of why him and Cardi B are like close friends.
Or why they were the guards.
The Interpol police was just a bunch of women.
There were 15 models in Cardi B, and they broke Dom out.
And why, when they arrested him, they didn't just like turn then? Why did they wait until they were
in the
20 minutes down the road?
Yeah, that was the single strangest scene in the entire movie for me.
We had other cameos. We had Cardi B. We had Francis Ngannou, heavyweight champion.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was a bad guy.
He got blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope he'll come back. And then,
it seems unlikely.
Oh, they showed him dying? I can't wait to see him in the next movie. And then I think that guy, the big bald guy with the tattoos, I think it's a professional bodybuilder. I don't know his name, though.
The guy who gets hit by a car?
Yeah, no, the guy that, well, he also gets hit by a car, but at one point he's standing on top of a car and his entire skull goes backwards through a street sign and he does not even flinch.
It was so set up perfectly too, because he's fighting John Cena at the time, who's laying on his back, and he sees the sign coming. He's like, I'm gonna stay low so I don't get hit by the sign. This guy will get hit by the sign and get knocked out unfazed. He basically just goes right through the sign.
Because that car is going roughly probably anywhere from 85 to 120 miles an hour. This would decapitate anybody, and he is fucking fine.
Speaking of going at least 80 miles an hour, what did we think of the landmine scene? This was early in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
But another fever dream scene where it's just like kind of out of nowhere. The rules are explained loosely at the very beginning, and then it all kind of it comes together in the Tarzan swing, but before that, Roman gets himself wedged because he just keeps driving over landmines, I guess.
He's in the big truck that can't go like the required 80 miles an hour to not get blown up by these landmines.
Where did the 80 come from?
Ludicrous. Dom goes, Tej, how fast do we have to be going to avoid this? He's like, 80 miles an hour. no reference or anything.
He gets his freaking truck stuck between two rocks. It's precariously dangled over a landmine, slowly shifting down. Roman gets himself out of there, starts walking away. The truck falls. What looks like lands directly on top of his head. Then they're like, just kidding, it landed in front of him. He just walks out from behind it.
And that's where he acknowledges that they're invincible. And they're like...
And before that, he literally...
Shot like 15 times.
There's like 15 military people shooting at him from every angle.
Thought he was going to die. Silly me.
If they killed Roman Pierce, I'd be so upset. I think he might be my favorite character in these movies.
He's pretty damn good in this one.
Yeah, I like him.
He's good in all of them, but yeah, him and Tej always have the best back and forth. I'm glad the two of them went to space together. I don't know where Bow Wow went for that scene either.
Probably back to the bar.
McDonald's.
Bow Wow was only in the introduction of the rocket scene and then at the barbecue at the end.
Can we talk more about Bow Wow? Because I literally had my mind
blown.
I could not believe
why at the end of the movie with the barbecue, they like leave a cliffhanger like that John Cena's coming. Why couldn't they just have him in there? We know he's going to the barbecue. Yeah. Is that how the next movie starts?
That wasn't John Cena.
Who was it?
Is that Paul Walker?
That was Paul Walker.
Oh shit. Oh my god.
I literally just got goosebumps.
I thought it was John Cena.
A shiver just went up my fucking
Paul Walker's coming to the... Oh my god, why did I not realize that in the movie?
I have to go check my pants. I think I just shit myself, dude. Holy crap.
Dude, we didn't even mention one of the great lines where Dom's like, maybe I should be with my kids, or why aren't you with your kids? And they're like, don't worry, they're in great hands. And Letty just looks at the camera, winks, and goes, with Brian.
I did not know that was Brian.
Dude,
wow.
Literally.
Fuck me.
Mia's sitting at the table. They're about to say grace. He's like, there's still an empty seat. And she goes, don't worry, he's on his way. And then his blue Nissan Skyline or whatever he drives rolls up, parks in the driveway. Movie ends, dude.
God damn it. I need to go watch this movie.
I put a tear to my eye, dude.
Why didn't you tell me in the moment what was happening?
Why wasn't John Cena at the barbecue then?
I was crying, Bob. What do you want me to say?
That literally just added like
so many more points to this movie for me.
You might have to adjust your ranking.
A 10 to an 11. This is not my number one.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I thought it was very obvious, but
I think it's just because I didn't recognize the car. That's probably why.
And John Cena wasn't at the barbecue, so I'm just like, well, he's got to be coming,
why I was
right?
thinking it was John Cena. Yeah, so I totally just, and maybe it was because the fucking baby was screaming. I just couldn't think straight. But holy crap, dude! Wow. I like that. That's actually a very tasteful way to bring him up, I'd say. The wink to the camera. Brian's watching the babies. That was horrible. But that was on par with what they normally do in these movies. Just ridiculously stupid shit. But them to have this scene, now that I know about that, it's I think it's pretty tasteful.
That's a better ode to him.
That's pretty tasteful, too. I actually really like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And then we also get a mid-credit scene. Jason Statham punching, it looks like Captain America at the end of what post-credit scene was that? Iron Man 2?
Oh, when he's punching the bag and just grabs another one.
And then that's when we learn that the Avengers are being assembled when Sam Jackson goes and talks to him. Basically what it looks like in this, hooded figure punching a punching bag. Turns out Jason Statham punching a dude inside of a body bag sleeve, which is pretty crazy.
Is it the French guy in this movie? That's why I assumed it was in there. It's kind of hard to tell. He's so bloody.
Yeah, I think it was the French guy.
The French guy...
Is he dead? I don't remember.
He died in the explosion that killed the drone that Charlize Theron was
okay.
flying.
Who the fuck was that guy? Just a random guy?
I think it was just some dude.
I guess we'll find out.
That would hurt so bad.
He just finds a person on the street and he's like, you're going in my fucking body.
I'm going to beat the fucking piss out of you.
And then there's a knock at the door. Who wants to know what Deckard Shaw is doing?
I'm just going to interject right here. I actually don't remember who was at the door.
Wow.
I don't remember. So I'm about to fucking lose my mind. Who was it? I don't remember.
Han.
And then they just cut away. I don't know if he's like mad at him because he's like, I guess, attempted to murder him. But like Han knew the whole time.
Good guy.
Han's on. Yeah. They're on the same team now. I can't wait for that interaction in the
Justice
next
for
movie.
Han. It's coming one way or another.
If Han kills Deckard
Han
Shaw,
versus Shaw.
I hope so.
Han versus Shaw in Fast 10, and then Han will kill Shaw, but then we'll come back for Fast 11, and then Shaw will kill Han again.
They just keep
coming back to life. Because if you die in this movie, it does not matter.
No.
Man, I genuinely had, minus the screaming baby, a great time watching this movie.
Yeah.
It was absurd, but as I said at the beginning, Fast and Furious is a cheat code. You can't really criticize them. They are immune to criticism because they've established that literally anything goes.
It's amazing what they've been able to do. They can do no wrong, and it's got to be fun to make these movies because they're like, this is so ridiculous, but it doesn't matter.
We should start writing Fast and Furious fan fiction. And they might make a movie out of
We
it.
could not come up with anything more absurd than they're already doing.
I'm going to do that and submit my script to the freaking directors. Who directed this movie?
Justin Lin.
Justin Lin's going to be like, holy fuck, get this guy out here. This is amazing.
Do you guys have any final thoughts? We're gonna also rank all of these movies in a second here, but
My final thoughts are that I actually want to see it again. And when we started doing the Fast Enough for F9, if you told me when I finally saw F9, I was going to say I'd like to see it again, I would have been fucking shocked.
Yeah, I don't think I'll go back and watch all these movies.
I think I will. I think I'm going to revisit these.
If they're on, I will be watching them. Before I just be like, geez, this is on again. I will now be watching these movies whenever they're on.
I agree 100%.
I'd like to have like a good old time. Next time we're having a couple beers.
We watch all the movies.
No, just put it on in the background. Never spice it up.
Start with 4.
Yeah,
We should watch 1. Legitimately, you'll get a lot, especially after F9 having all the flashback scenes. Now you'll have you'll have the context for everything that happens in Fast and Furious 1. So, yeah, we already said it. Highly recommend it. It's a little too late for you to add to my opening weekend box office total, but hey, why not make sure this thing hits $1 billion, which it was already out in theaters in other countries for like a month and had already made like $300 million.
How does that work for your box office?
just US. Right?
It would be whatever Box Office Mojo considers opening weekend.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
last I saw, estimates were 68 million, but no official word yet.
That's tough. That's gonna surpass my 47.5 million.
Just a little bit. Let's get into our rankings. This is gonna be fun because Ben and Bob have only seen roughly half of the movies.
I think me and Bob have collectively seen all these movies.
I think that could be true. And I've obviously seen bits of Fast and Furious 1 and 2, but very few bits and years ago.
Let's start with you, Bob. How do you rank the 9 movies in the Fast and Furious saga? We're leaving Hobbs and Shaw off the list for now.
So my number 1 is Fast and Furious 6. The one that I've seen before F9, the one that I saw most recently, just because we had a great time in the movie theater. I thought it was actually it's obviously same regular hijinks and bullshit, but for the most part, pretty enjoyable. So I have Fast 6 as number 1. I have the most popular movie of all time, Fast 5, as number 2. Just because that's the one that I've seen and I can remember, I think, the most from. And then I have Fast and Furious 8, The Fate of the Furious, the one that I saw the last 25 minutes of with you guys, and it was so fucking awesome that it made number 3 on my list. Then at my number 4 spot, Tokyo Drift. I actually might move that up to 3 just because I'm really thinking about Bow Wow right now. I think he needs anything he can get. And at number 5, I have F9, which I'm thinking about the baby, and yeah, I'm switching. 3 is now Tokyo Drift. Fast 8 is 4. F9 is still 5. I don't know why I fucking said that. Anyway, 6, Fast and Furious 4. 7, Fast and Furious 1. 8, Fast and Furious 2. That's because I don't remember much from them, so they're ranked low because I can't really recall.
That's fair.
And then my 9th, it was Fast and Furious 7 because I could not figure out which one I was missing, and I needed one more spot on my list.
Interesting tactic there to wrap up the end. Ben, what about you?
I'll go the other way. I had Too Fast, Too Furious. I think I've seen this movie.
Number 1?
No, number 9. That's my number 9. Sorry, I had to go I'm going backwards.
Okay.
I think because
You're in reverse.
Vin Diesel, yeah,
Drifting into reverse.
Vin Diesel's not in this movie, so I that's why it's my lowest. Fast and Furious 4. What is that movie called? Fast and 4?
Fast and Furious.
The Fast and the Furious.
No.
Oh,
Fast and Furious. That's a different movie. The Fast and the
The
Furious.
fourth is my number 8 because I know nothing about it. I think Jeremy thinks that's where you say this franchise begins. But yeah, number 7, Fast 6. Never seen it. Number 6, Tokyo Drift. Maybe I should move it up for Bow Wow as well.
Bow Wow needs it, dude.
5, I have Fast 7 because
Bow Wow's getting tagged in everything that we post. I'm just tagging Bow Wow.
I think he was just in a versus Soulja Boy. So good. He used this F9
Let's
to
go.
relaunch the rap career. Yeah. So yeah, number 5, I had Fast 7 because I've heard good things but never saw it. Number 4, Fast and Furious 1. Great movie. That's where it begins. I do know I've seen that movie. Number 3, F9. Great movie. Just a great fucking movie. Number 2, Fate of the Furious. Had such a fun time watching Dom play the bad guy. Just a great role
Dom
reversal.
Toretto's gone rogue.
And then number 1, the greatest movie of all time, Fast 5.
Yeah,
I respect
that's a
it.
good list.
All right, we're shifting back into Drive because I'm going top to bottom because that's how I'm doing it. My number 1 movie in this franchise is Fast and Furious 6. It was my number 1 the first time through. Fast 5 crept up a little bit, but I'm keeping it. Fast and Furious 6 is my number 1. Followed by Fast 5. As I mentioned, I think it's even closer to Fast 6 than I gave it credit for. And we've established the most popular movie ever made. Number 3 is going to be Furious 7.
Oh, my number 9.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a lot better than you're giving it credit for. After that, we went Fate of the Furious. One that I'd kind of forgotten a lot of the plot points of, but rewatching it recently, man, is that a great movie. I got F9 right at the middle, number 5. Following that, Fast and Furious, the 4th movie, obviously. Followed by The Fast and the Furious, the first movie, obviously. Followed by Too Fast, Too Furious, and Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Of all the people giving out their Fast and Furious rankings, I don't think very many are putting Tokyo Drift in the last
Number
spot.
3.
Yeah. For Bow Wow, dude. He needs.
Sorry, Bow Wow, I gotta put it last. The fact that they're all in high school still makes no goddamn sense. The fact that Lucas Black is your main actor in it makes no goddamn sense. I'm glad they brought Han in. I'm glad he died, only to die 2 more times, only to die a different way and still come back in the 9th movie. Man, what a trip that guy's been on, but... Alright, boys. Can you now say you've been fastened up to the max? Are you just waiting for F10 now?
I actually am.
I'm waiting to see what they name it. I love that all these movies just have they're all close enough to Fast and Furious.
FX. I'm calling now. The Fast 10 is going to be FX.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
And then FX will eat that shit up,
Yeah.
showing it all the
It
time.
will literally they'll make an entire channel for it.
FX is now FX. We just played the 10th Fast and Furious movie 24 hours a day.
I'd probably make more money.
Yeah, I would actually watch it then.
Yeah, I cannot wait for it. I know everything got delayed, obviously, because of coronavirus, but a little part of me wished that they had like just enough done with the next
you see
movie
a trailer.
that they would have a trailer at the end
in
of
between,
F9.
like Back to the Future 2 and 3, where they show you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and I also, based on like the podcast I was listening to, the interviews I heard, my understanding is that the last 2 movies, because they're doing 11 total, so 10 and 11 are gonna be the last 2 movies.
Sure, 11 total, yeah.
And I
No
think
fucking way.
I think they're doing an Infinity War Endgame style, one giant story wrapped into 2 very long movies.
Do you think they kill Dom off like they kill Iron Man?
Wow.
He can't die, though.
That's but he can't just be like, Brian, go watching the kids.
Here's the thing, though. If they kill Dom on screen, and it is solid, like they literally show him getting his neck slashed open, do you not think that he could come back for another movie?
Oh, I guarantee
That's the fucking problem. That's why they cannot kill him. If they kill him in the movie, nobody will believe it.
they could have a scene of him being decapitated, and then they'd have another movie where they just have a 2-minute scene of someone stitching his head back on.
Literally, if they actually killed him on screen, nobody would believe it.
That would be the most shocking cinematic death of all time.
I don't think they could even do it. I think they know well enough that like if we do this, no one will believe it.
That's what, like, I don't. They'd have to send him off into space legitimately and be like, Dom's going to
He'd have to
find
die in
other
real life.
Earth. He's going to find other Earth or other life
To race.
to race.
I've beaten every human on Earth.
I need a bigger challenge.
I was actually really bummed that we didn't get, because we were all theorizing that they were going to be in space for a majority of the movie, and
That's why. Do you think they go back to space?
As I'm saying that, I just realized how absurd that sounds. We were theorizing that a movie about street racers, they were going to be in space for 90%.
Do you think they go back to space? Like, do they try to go further into space?
My guess is they go underwater next, or the surface of the sun.
There's only two things you could do, and those are it.
They have to. I really think we will see them race on the moon.
They might as well just have the fastest car in the universe. Like, aliens come down and be like, "We're here to race you. Winner gets to live."
It's some sort of intergalactic battle where everyone has to send like a champion to perform a street race. So Earth sends Dom Toretto as Earth's champion to street race all of these other alien species to save the world.
It's really crazy because that doesn't sound unbelievable. That sounds like the plot for FX.
I cannot wait. Whatever it is, I hope they introduce some sort of Thanos level extinction event, and Dom Toretto has to do something to stop it.
Here we go. So your idea of it being two movies drawn out over like the Endgame Infinity War thing, who are we casting as the bad guy? It's got to be somebody huge. Think about it. If it truly is the 11th movie is the last one, they have two left, and it is over two movies, who is the bad guy?
Well, Charlize Theron still active.
She's like the smaller bad guy, I gotta think.
Yeah. Kind of like how she was in this movie.
Well, like every bad guy we've met in every movie is basically the guy who ranks ahead of the previous movie's bad guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're just slowly working up the chain of command.
Who is it? Who is the big guy?
You just want the actor that we want cast? Well,
yep.
This is what I want to happen.
My guess is Sylvester Stallone.
Is he's not too old? I guess he's only 45 in the Fast and Furious.
I think it's Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, pretty solid. What if they just straight up said fuck it and they join the MCU and it is Thanos? It's just Josh Brolin.
I wouldn't care.
What if it is Josh Brolin? Not as Thanos, but
Brolin,
it's just him.
Just
maybe the writers are sitting around like, hey, you know that one comic book movie with the big purple guy? What if we got him?
What if we did a crossover movie? I wouldn't be surprised.
Sylvester Stallone sounds good to me, but I actually think they're gonna like really like go for like an Oscar level actor.
I hope they don't do.
And
just
my guess, and I am now changing it, Anthony Hopkins. Imagine it.
Anthony Hopkins like 90.
And he wins an Oscar.
The first Oscar
for FX 11 and fucking.
I can't wait till we do the halvesies and this movie wins every award. Halvesies got to be coming up soon, right?
Well, speaking of halvesies, next week.
Is it really?
This is the last week of June.
Didn't know that.
Shit.
Next week, first week of July, we are halfway through the year, and that means we have to celebrate in the Big Movie Boys way, which is the halvesies.
We don't have a Spencer Confidential movie this year, so this might be the movie.
This is probably
doesn't mean it can't win this year.
Here's the thing, though.
Mark Wahlberg wins Best Supporting Actor.
Bow Wow was winning that. If I have any poll here, and I'm gonna we're definitely sending an award to Bow Wow's house. I'll pay money and make a trophy, and I'll probably just, I don't know, maybe message him on Instagram. What's your phone number and address? He was like, oh my god, somebody wants to talk to me? Yeah, I'm gonna send you an award. We could get. I'm fucking messaging Bow Wow right now. We could get Bow Wow on this podcast.
Not if he listens to this one.
We just trashed him the entire time.
The fuck is Bow Wow's Twitter name?
Bow Wow.
It's S Moss. Okay, follow.
You sure that's him?
Yeah, he's verified. How do I message him? Bow Wow. Will?
Come on my...
You come on my movie podcast, please.
If he says yes, we have to redo this podcast so he never hears it.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this week. I mean, if you guys want, we could just start with the Fast and the Furious again next week. And just keep going every week.
This over and over.
But unfortunately, that's probably not in the plan. As we mentioned, the halvesies are coming up next week. So look forward to that. We got another big award show. We like to do that. And apparently Bow Wow will be there. So
featured guest.
Until then, thank you for listening. And remember, do not bring a baby to a movie theater. See you next week.